Hello, my name is Mert Foos. I'm a registered nurse and a citizen of Lewes, and I'm here volunteering to give us some tips and practical ideas of how we do this mitigating and how we are going to begin to live our lives with a mask on, gloves, cleaning, and everything from an infection control perspective. So we're going to talk a few minutes. I do have an audience behind our camera here that's listening for the first time, so bear with us as we do this live and try to tape. All of the information comes from the CDC guidelines and the Department of Health and Human Services at the state of Delaware. We will keep our city patrons and citizens updated as we get the information. My first point is just our general personhood. Each and every one of us should start our day, whether we're a worker or a visitor or whoever you might be, trying to run a shop, and if you need to help your own employees get engaged. Start clean the best you can. Take a shower, think of your clothes as they're clean, and then be very conscious of that. More women, more ladies than men tend to wear jewelry and draping scarves. I usually like that. That really shouldn't be happening at this time. Less is best. As soon as we get hot, it'll be great. T-shirts and shorts. Think about everything on you starting clean. But the other thing I want you to do is think of your body from the waist up is the area that you want to be most concerned about. This COVID-19 is a virus. It is transmitted from your nose or your mouth. There's lots of things that it can sit in the back of your throat. So if you talk and spit, and I'm sure all of you have heard all those things on the news, but for your own personhood, be mindful of that. Waist up, keep as clean as you can, and think about the infection control practices as best you can, and do your job. And the waist down, it's dirty all the time. So the very first thing we spoke of today is anybody and everybody, this could be your new best friend. If you just cleaned and you dropped something, I don't want you bending all the way over and picking it back up. So these are a good friend to have. Help your staff, whoever they may be. That is helpful. So we talked about the jewelry, waist up, waist down. Think about your car keys. I'm not even going to go in, and your phones, okay? Begin to put into your schedule. Did I wipe my car keys down? Did I wipe my car down? How about my coffee mug? These are your friends. I know they're hard to find. If you cannot find this, my husband has lived with my crazy self all these years. He's always, when it's birthday present, I said, I love the diamond rings, but I really, really want these even more. For Mother's Day, my son said, I found one. And I got Lysol as my Mother's Day present. So think of your cars and trucks and vehicles every once in a while, where you sit, not the whole thing, where you are as your person. So those are some of the general things. We're going to talk a minute about this mask. You could spend 3 hours on looking videos on YouTube, and you don't have time to do that. Is when do you put it on, when do you don't? The first thing is think about this mask as it's just a protective thing, but it's also contaminated. Before you put a mask on, and I'm telling you these things from a real medical perspective, but the ideal, and strive as best you can. I'm going to use this because it's easier. You wash your hands first, then you put your mask on. You touch it on this. Then take that moment, the mask works. It has to be covering your nose. All of us with glasses, that's very frustrating. But it has to be tight to your nose any way you can. If anybody can somewhere find friends, you put mine. This one is obviously because I'm with the American Legion. Pipe cleaners, anything that you can find underneath it. My son was using copper wiring, so construction folks, outdoor folks, he was wrapping up with tape and copper wire. Create the tighter nose thing that works for you. Adjust the ear things if this is your mask that you wear day in and day out, so it is tight. If it's not tight here, and it doesn't come all the way down around your chin enough, and it's flapping, we're outside in the breeze, that's going to be hard for us. But if this is way too loose, that's going to give you trouble too. Okay, so take that extra minute, invest in the time and resource. There's all kinds, these hand ones, these are okay. This is, I have to advertise my best friends because they help all of us all the time. My son, the very first weekend in March, he's like, Mom, I need one of my t-shirts. You can make the t-shirt one. Some of you are going to be provided that. A handkerchief does work, but again, all the same principles. Make sure it's tight, rada. Put it on. When you go to take it off, and I think for the sake of the rest of this exercise, I may take mine off. your mask is contaminated once you've been wearing it. It's contaminated. The inside part of it is the most contaminated because you may be having the germ in you and you don't know it and you're never going to know it. You might have gotten it or whatever. So you have to think about both sides of it are contaminated, and the ideal, maybe not all possible, if you're wearing any kind of cloth one and you don't have the disposables, this gets washed. It's your new best friend when you're rinsing out your coffee cup with hot water, a little bit of bleach or anything hot, detergent, clean this, let it dry. You know, in the old days, or all the veterans I take care of, we had to wash our underwear, we had to wash everything. Wash it just before you go to bed, it's dry in the morning, put it back in and get back to work. So, you could do it from that mindset. But it is contaminated, so it needs to be cleaned before you put it back on. So I'm going to break all the rules, but for the sake of talking with the tape, I'm going to not wear it for the rest of this. So we've talked about the mask. We've talked about once you are wearing it, I already broke my protocol here. Again, constantly touching it and putting it up and down, and the second you put it on, that's when you're going to have to cough or sneeze or whatever. But again, one of the things, the practice is, we all need to lead by example, especially with all the company that's coming and everything. They're like, man, they got this. You know, we want to make Lewes proud, or Love Lewes is our campaign. So again, some of us had a meeting last week, and once you are in your location and you're by yourself and you're not having to interact with a lot of people, then you're either sitting down, or if you're in your mower, I'm looking at all the trucks out here, if you are going to be by yourself, it is okay to take off your mask, okay? And that's going to get real confusing. We keep changing our minds as, you know, clinical people, should you wear it all the time or not? Sometimes for our own stress level, it's like, I gotta take this off. I have a girlfriend, she has panic attacks. She goes, I'm not even gonna be able to go outside, I can't, you know. So if you're by yourself and you know you're gonna be by yourself for a while, when we sit in outside 6 feet apart, and I'll keep going here, when you can't eat with a mask on and you can't drink a beer with a mask on, it really is best practice to take it off. I'm going to break every infection control. We'll put this back on, but constantly putting this on and off is also big. Don't pull it down to your neck. That doesn't do you any good. It's really better to think about, okay, this is my contaminated thing. I'm a nurse. This is my clean pocket. This is my contaminated pocket. I shove it down here till the next time. When you take it off, ideally, some way, clean your hands again. It was a clean thing, now it was a dirty thing after you've worn it. So you're going to do that. When we talk about hand washing, which is the most important thing around all these things, there's some of these elements, I'll go through it. Everybody talks about hand washing. If, again, the water is not available to you as we're sitting in this environment, it's not. You can think about sanitation stations is the word that's floating around in the city, or different things. You could, and this is my son and I have been practicing this a little bit, gallon jugs can be your best friend, one for drinking, and one put a little bit of bleach in it. If you use a little bit of bleach and some water on your hands, I'm going to start the whole exact technique here for a moment. You first start, wet your hands, and again, we're going to pretend this is a faucet because this is my sink where I'm standing right now. You wet your hands first, okay? Wet your hands. Make sure they're wet all the way around. Then whatever cleaning product, the soap, you put that on next. 4-year-old grandson's been helping me practice. Get lather first. Then you start singing the song. But the other thing that you, and I already didn't do it right because I'm so used to not doing it as a nurse, I'm thinking my hands are contaminated, but if you roll your sleeves up before you even start, that would be ideal, or try to get them up there. Your hands are from as far up on your wrist as you can go all the way down. So when you're scrubbing, and you're going to rub and rub and rub lathers, you've all heard sing the birthday song twice, but again, be very intentional when you're trying to do this. I'm thinking, this is dirty here, this is dirty here, this is dirty here. My CNAs took care of all kinds of things all the time. If you don't take a minute and get to your fingernail beds, that's where the germs are. Ladies, the long fingernail days for a while, I think they should be gone. So if you don't have time to clean underneath them, and on and on and on. So I've sung my happy birthday song for 20 seconds, or think of any other, we'll think of a Lewes song someday soon. Rinse. Okay, and then your best friend is hot water, as hot as you can stand it. Surgical nurse that I started out is, I would rinse my hands, fingertips to waist, and then think about, this is the cleanest part. I want my fingertips to be the cleanest part of my hands, and then go down. So you dive in with the hot water, dive in with the hot water, and then use a product to rinse. But again, here I'm trying to dry. In your ideal world, even those of you in your own homes, if you can get these disposable kinds of things for drying hands, and again, you want to think about, you've touched this, it is clean, but think about as soon as you touch it, it's not. So you dry your fingers first, and the best thing in the world if you're outside, air drying is absolutely fine. Just don't touch anything. Think about, play that you're a surgeon. The other thing that's going to be real hard for us to manage in this city is, where does this stuff go? And the whole community is going to wash their hands, use their wipes, and throw it down. Smaller trash receptacles I would recommend so they can be cleaned up sooner. Think about yourself then as a surgeon. You're kind of sterile, so right again, as soon as you've got your hands clean, you don't want to touch your face or fix your hair after that. Again, just gentle reminders about that. For the COVID virus, they're recommending when and how often. That's the other thing. You could absolutely make yourself crazy. The CDC guidelines for COVID is after you've been in any public place. So whenever you get a minute, just go and try to wash your hands. Anytime you've touched a surface or an item, again, this data, the raw data, we still do not know enough about this virus. Every day there's something coming out in medical journals that, the spit from people when they're talking like me could travel. The droplets can last in the air for maybe up to 10 or 15 seconds. So they sit someplace. They could get on a piece of equipment or something and stay there. We just have not had enough time to test so that we know for sure. Relief was great with the AIDS virus and SARS and everything else once we found out how it really is transmitted and how long it really lasts, and we just don't know those things yet. So we're saying door handles, gas pumps. I believe that our citizens are already practicing it, and we're going to see it more with our guests. They're going to use wipes to touch the gas pump, to touch the parking meters, to touch things, and then they're going to be, oh, crap. What we don't want them to do is throw it on the ground. Some of us have already been talking about that. What you can do any way you can if you are accessing the public and say, that's your germ now, so could you please take care of your germ? I'm going to put it in my contaminated pocket here. The other thing is lots of conversation and thoughts about gloves. I can't get the gloves, I can't wear the gloves. Prior to this epidemic, I used to even stop the subway guy and say, you just made a sandwich, you walked all the way down the sandwich line, you touched the cash register, and now you've walked back with the same gloves on, and you want to make my sandwich. Please don't. Ideally, gloves are good for one thing. As soon as you touch one thing that could be contaminated, your gloves are contaminated. If you are wiping down tables with heavy chemicals, more of the disinfectant, I showed you this as an example, and I'm not promoting it, I'm just saying, I got so anxious one day, I said, this you can pour into 4 gallons of water, and it does create the disinfectant that would work for restaurants and bars cleaning tables and tops. But it's expensive. But a person using a chemical agent, they should be wearing gloves. All the rest of you, if you wear gloves for the nature of your work or business, whatever you do, your prior requirement, but they are not a necessity. The masks are necessities. Any way to get your own hands clean is a necessity. This is for those in the crowd who their hands dry up and it's making you crazy. My own son's already complaining because how many times a day do you have to do all of this stuff? Putting lotion on as soon as you've washed your hands or put hand sanitizer on it takes away the effect of the cleaning that you just did. At nighttime before you go to bed, everybody can put aloe vera or something, the strongest dry skin agent you can use. Your hands are going to get roughed up because of all this washing. So All of us, all the guys and all the girls. Aloe vera is lovely. The other thing about bottles of aloe vera, a little easier to come by, but not so great. If you found a lot of the hand sanitizers, we're very blessed. Some of our distilleries have opened up for the hand sanitizers and trying to make it. If you're purchasing or looking for any of those things with hand sanitizers, make sure that they can report to you what their recipe is for it. The World Health Organization has put out very specific formulas, 1, 2, 3. They have to have enough of a percentage of alcohol, or the distilleries are using the ethyl alcohol, or different venues. And some of them are just using it. Mayor and I have already spoken of this. It's just like pouring vodka when you do it. It's clear, it does do it, but it's really hard to manage, so you're spilling it. They probably can't get aloe vera right now either. So you can dilute any of the hand sanitizers that you might be running across by putting some of the aloe vera in it. The other thing that you can do with the hand sanitizers that are waterier, from the Dollar Tree or any place you can, get a bottle and make it a spray. That's the ideal. If you really can get good at it and find it, the spray bottles work. So you can pour something into the spray bottle and do it like that. But again, the technique's either hand sanitation with the bottle or the hand washing with the station, and you've got access to hot water before, during, and after any food. Again, those people are going to be, really hard pressed. I come from American Legion Post 17, and our poor bartenders is like, how am I going to do the beer and make the drinks? So I think we all need to be in prayer for our bartenders, because we could use them all right now. Before and after eating food, again, mask comes off, you've eaten your food, everything is so clean before, clean after. If anybody gets sick, and that's the other thing, and I think we've done a great job in this community, but we can't ease up on that yet. If anybody around you, again, once they start this tracing and all that stuff, I just heard of one of my grandmother friends yesterday died of the virus. They shipped her up to Wilmington, did everything that they could. So we're not done yet. We're not done. So we have to keep thinking about these things and be careful. Walk around as if you could be contaminated and we don't yet know how you got it. You don't know. But with company coming, be more thinking, I could have it, I could be carrying it, I don't want to get it, and I don't want to give it. So we have to be a little bit extra. Cuts or wounds, make sure quickly, and again, a lot of you are outside workers or doing it. My son gets horrible gashes, and I go, dear, please take the time at this time, because of this, you can get any other infection. If you get a staph infection in a wound, it makes you more susceptible to this virus thing. So please, probably on your list, everybody for the city, more easy access to first aid kits. If somebody cuts themselves on the beach, maybe our lifeguards and things like that, make sure that wound gets cleaned pretty quickly, because again, they won't necessarily get the virus from that, but they could get a staph or strep infection in that makes them more susceptible to getting the COVID virus, because their body's immune system is working really hard on another thing. Anytime working with kids and things like that, learn to teach all the young people around you. I have a 4-year-old at home. You have to turn into a game or whatever, but they have to have the same principles and the same practices. Good luck with getting them to wear the mask, but, and I will put this out there because it worked for us. A lot of the kids have masks and things, the super mask heroes and things like that. Any mask that you can get, or those that have the eyes in them, but if you turn them upside down, it does cover their mouth and their nose. So 4-year-olds and 3-year-olds will wear the cute hero things, so you can think about that. Touching garbage, things like that. Again, if you normally wore gloves when you're touching garbage, but think again, even if it's just, there's just a few things in there. We've always done it, but again, now be even more mindful. And I don't think anybody has the solid answer yet. Like, how often should we be manic? I use littler garbage pails, so then every little while I can take this one off and put a littler one in there. But for managing it out in the public as we try to serve the city, that's probably not going to be of our best interest. And by the time that trash is really touched, inside of it, think that it's contaminated, but the outside of it, to dispose of it, just again, caution and gloves as you can get them. I think those are all the main points I would like to make for the sake of our tape. We will come back at you as we need to. We have lots of challenges before us. I wish I could say anyone has the answers. I only know how this journey was before with these other viruses. This one came so hard, so fast. All our good medical people at the universities, there is professional blogs. They're working very, very hard. So as we all say all the time, every day, prayers and thanks to all that are working on the virus. Now it's time for us to do our part so we can help this community feel like it's summertime. Thank you.